Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make hard pain loops for people like Lil Durk, Rod Wave. Let's get into it. Okay, so before I get into how I made it, this is the loop. Okay, so there are a few sounds going on, but to start off with, I'm going to show you guys the main sound, which is the piano, and I'm using this Noir Pure piano from Contact. Okay, so to take it back a few steps, I've just gone on a new pattern and put down the basic chords, and then we'll get into how I made the melody in a minute. So for this one, I'm working in F minor. As you can see, I've got the scale highlighting on so that all the light grey notes, they work in key. And then I've gone from the F minor up to the G sharp minor, and then down to this little interval note, I'd call it, just for a short period here, to the C, and then up to a C sharp, and then up to the D sharp, and that is the chord progression. Those are the root notes, and then I just built chords off of that. For me, this one's a bit of an emotional chord progression, which is perfect for pain beats, so you can copy this one and add your own variation to it. Okay, so now onto the more complex version of this. As you can see, we've got the same chord progression going on. The only difference is I've got a few notes like this one here, for example, that starts a little bit later on, just so that they're not all stabbing at the beginning, and there's a little bit of variation in the middle of the chords. And then of course I've got a top line going on here. Honestly, all you need to do is just mess around with some high notes within key. So I've just kind of descended down, and then as you can see here, I've got some little triplet kind of like rolls going down. These don't always need to have notes in key, as long as you do them quite quickly. It gives it more of a blues feel. Another tip I would use is definitely do these little flick notes up. So I just put a really short note here that flicks up into another note. And at the end here, this one here, as you can see, I've got two out of key notes here. This is just a blues roll. And how to do this is you find the root note. So for example, F, and then you count up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this note and the one below that should be out of key. If you just do little rolls between those, it should give off a blues feel, which is what I've done at the end here. Okay, so another thing you can do to make this sound more realistic and authentic is press Option S or Alt S if you're on Windows, and then it should come up with this where you can stretch these ones here, and that makes it strum the chord instead of just playing it all at once, which makes it sound more realistic. And then another one is Control R or Alt R, and then it comes up with this where you can mess around with all of these here, like the pan, the velocity, the release, and that just also gives it a lot more of a realistic and authentic feel. Okay, so I've duplicated the piano, except I've taken out some of the high notes and left just the rolls and the blues note. This is just so that when I send it out on the loop, there are two sections, one with more going on and one with less, just so it adds variation. And for the mixing, I've added a reverb, fresh air, an imager just to make it a lot wider, and an EQ for taking out the lows and compressing some of the mid-range frequencies. And next up, I wanted to add a pad just to add some ambience in the background, and I'm using Summer Nights from Analog Lab 5, and all that is doing is just copying over the chords and playing all the way through. And for the mixing on the pad, I've got a reverb, a fruity chorus, and then I've got an EQ taking out the lows and a little bit of the highs. And then next up, I've got these two accents, which I use in nearly every single pain loop. So if anyone has anything similar that can just like switch up what I use, then please send it to me. And then last of all, I've got a Moog bass, which is just following the root notes. Okay, and the last thing was arranging it. So I've got a section with all of it going on, and then I take certain things out here and then I've stemmed them out. And then I also have a riser going on here, and the piano's lower notes, the lower frequencies, are cut out here when the bass is playing, but then I let them breathe a bit more over here when the bass is not playing. So yeah, that's how to make hard pain loops for people like Lil Durk. If you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.